I never imagined I would be cast aside by my own daughter. The realization hit me like a train wreck, shattering every illusion I had built about family, love, and loyalty. It wasn't a slow betrayal, the kind that creeps in over the years. It was swift, merciless, like a blade sliding between my ribs when I least expected it. The ivory wedding invitation arrived in the mail that morning, addressed to Vanessa, my wife. I opened it absent-mindedly, expecting to see both our names written in elegant cursive. But when I scanned the envelope, a cold weight settled in my stomach. Vanessa Williams. Just her. Not me. My breath hitched as I flipped through the contents, looking for some explanation. Perhaps a mistake? A printing error? But no. My daughter, my own flesh and blood, had deliberately chosen to exclude me from the most important day of her life. I sat frozen, my fingers tightening around the thick cardstock. Emma and I had been close once, inseparable. I had held her hand on her first day of school, cheered at every recital, wiped her tears when life had been cruel. And now, I wasn't even worthy of attending her wedding? The sound of heels clicking against the floor pulled me from my thoughts. Vanessa entered the room, dressed in one of her tailored silk blouses, her hair swept into an effortless bun. She had always been beautiful, even now in her 40s, refined, elegant, and utterly indifferent. "Something wrong?" she asked, noticing the expression on my face. I held up the invitation. "You want to tell me why I'm not on this?" Her eyes flickered over the card, and for a split second, something unreadable crossed her face. Then, just as quickly, it was gone. She exhaled, setting down the glass of wine she had been carrying. "You're overreacting," she said smoothly. "It's not that deep, James." "Not that deep," I repeated, my voice laced with disbelief. "Emma is getting married. My own daughter. And I'm not invited? That's not deep," she sighed, rubbing her temple as if I were a petulant child throwing a tantrum. "Emma made her decision. Maybe if you hadn't been so difficult over the years, things would be different." Difficult? My fingers curled around the invitation. I was the one who worked 2 jobs to make sure she had everything she ever wanted. I was the one who sacrificed sleep, time, money, hell, everything, so she could have a good life. And now she doesn't even want me at her wedding. Vanessa shrugged, taking a slow sip of wine. "You should have tried harder to stay close to her." "Stay close? You're acting like I abandoned her." My voice rose, frustration boiling over. She cut me off. And I have no idea why. A slow smirk curled her lips, so subtle I almost missed it. Something was off. "You don't think this is strange?" I pressed. "You don't find it odd that my own daughter suddenly wants nothing to do with me?" She tilted her head, feigning innocence. "Maybe she just doesn't want any drama at her wedding." "You can be a bit intense, James." "Intense?" She met my gaze, her eyes gleaming with something dangerous. "You never like being told you're the problem, do you?" A sickening realization crept into my mind. What if Vanessa had something to do with this? I had noticed the shift in Emma months ago, the short replies, the sudden coldness, the way she stopped answering my calls. At first, I assumed it was stress, wedding planning, life pulling her away. But what if it wasn't? What if someone had whispered lies into her ear? I stared at Vanessa, my mind racing. "You turned her against me," I said, the words escaping before I could stop them. Vanessa chuckled, shaking her head. "James, you always think everything is some grand conspiracy." "Tell me the truth," I demanded. She sighed dramatically, setting down her wineglass. "What truth?" "Emma made a decision. You need to respect that." "But why?" My voice cracked, raw with emotion. "What did I do to deserve this?" Vanessa's expression softened, but there was no real warmth behind it. Just pity. Or maybe satisfaction. "Sometimes love just fades," she murmured. "Even between parents and children." I swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing against my chest. Love fades. Was that what had happened? Or was it stolen? That night, as Vanessa slept soundly beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind swirled with questions, memories, doubts. Somewhere along the way, I had lost my daughter. And now I was going to find out why. Sleep eluded me that night. Every time I closed my eyes, the same question echoed in my mind. Why had Emma turned against me? I refused to believe it was natural distance. Something or someone had poisoned her against me. By dawn, my determination solidified into steel. I needed answers. Vanessa stirred beside me, her delicate frame shifting under the sheets. I watched her for a moment, her beauty almost deceptive in its serenity. How many times had I mistaken that face for love? For loyalty? Slipping out of bed, I retrieved my phone and scrolled through Emma's contact. The last time I had called her was 2 months ago. She hadn't answered. I tried again. Voicemail. Frustration clawed at my chest. No. Not this time. I changed strategies. Logging onto social media, I searched for her wedding details. The venue, the dress, the guest list. It was all there, proudly displayed for the world to see. Except for me. Then, a comment caught my eye. "Can't wait to see you walk down the aisle with your dad, Emma." My blood ran cold. Her dad? I gritted my teeth. Emma only had one father. Me. Who the hell were they talking about? Heart pounding, I scrolled through the responses. One name kept appearing, David Carter. David. F***ing. Carter. ***. I knew that name. An old wound ripped open inside me. David had been a friend once. A man I trusted, invited into my home, shared drinks with. And now, he was walking my daughter down the aisle? Rage bubbled beneath my skin. I needed to see her. An hour later, I parked outside Emma's apartment. I had barely knocked when the door opened, and there she stood. My little girl. Except she wasn't my little girl anymore. Emma's expression hardened the moment she saw me. "What are you doing here?" I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Can we talk?" She hesitated. "Now's not a good time." "Emma, please," I said, my voice quieter. "Just 5 minutes." She sighed, stepping back. I entered, my eyes scanning the space. Her apartment was immaculate, modern, everything in perfect order, just like her mother preferred. She sat across from me, arms crossed. "Say what you need to say." I took a breath. "Why wasn't I invited to your wedding?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "I didn't think it was necessary." A knife twisted in my gut. "Not necessary? I'm your father, Emma." "You were," she murmured, looking away. The words stole my breath. "What the hell does that mean?" She hesitated, then exhaled sharply. "Mom told me everything." I stilled. "Everything?" Emma's eyes were cold, unyielding. "She told me how you cheated. How you broke our family apart." The room spun. "What?" "Don't lie to me, Dad." Her voice wavered, but the anger in it was real. "You had an affair. You betrayed her. You betrayed us." I stared at her, stunned. Vanessa. My wife had fed my daughter a carefully crafted lie. My hands clenched into fists. "That's not true. Mom wouldn't lie about something like that." I laughed, bitter and hollow. "Emma, your mother is a master manipulator. You have no idea how far she'll go to get what she wants." Her jaw tightened. "I don't want to hear this." "You need to hear it," I said firmly. "Emma, I never cheated. I was faithful to your mother for 23 years. If she told you otherwise, she's lying." She shook her head. "I don't believe you." I leaned forward, desperation clawing at my voice. "Then ask yourself this. Why would she wait until now to tell you? Why not when it supposedly happened?" She faltered. I pressed on. "And why the hell is David Carter walking you down the aisle?" Her face darkened. "Because he's been more of a father to me than you ever were." My world shattered. David. That bastard had taken my place. I stood abruptly, chest heaving. "Emma, you're being played. Open your damn eyes before it's too late." She shook her head, her expression unreadable. "I think you should leave." I swallowed the pain threatening to consume me. "I love you, Emma. I always will. But one day, you're going to realize the truth. She didn't respond. With a final glance, I turned and walked out. As the door shut behind me, only one thought burned in my mind. Vanessa and David had destroyed my family, and I was going to make them pay. Anger fueled every step as I stormed back to my car. The lies, the manipulation, it was suffocating. David Carter. That name alone sent a fresh wave of rage through my veins. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Vanessa had rewritten history, turning me into the villain while parading him as the hero. And worst of all, Emma believed her. I couldn't let this slide. I needed proof, and I knew exactly where to start. An hour later, I pulled into my lawyer's office. Mason Carter, no relation to that bastard David, had handled my divorce years ago. If there was any record of Vanessa's betrayal, Mason would know. The moment I walked into his office, he raised an eyebrow. "Didn't think I'd see you again, Ethan. What's going on?" I sat down, rubbing a hand over my face. "I need the old divorce papers. Everything. Including the financials." Mason leaned back, studying me. "Why now?" "Because my ex-wife is feeding my daughter lies, and I need to prove her wrong." Mason exhaled, then nodded. "Give me a sec." Minutes later, he placed a thick folder on the desk. "Here's everything. Hope you find what you're looking for." I flipped through the documents, scanning for anything that could expose Vanessa's deception. And then, there it was. A financial statement dated a year before our divorce. A secret bank account. My pulse quickened. The account had regular withdrawals, large ones. Thousands of dollars. Who the hell was she sending money to? I kept digging, my breath hitching when I found an old email exchange between Vanessa and her lawyer. "We should ensure Ethan never finds out about the other party. It would complicate the settlement." Other party? Ice flooded my veins. I wasn't the cheater. She was. And she'd buried the evidence deep enough that I never saw it back then. David Carter wasn't just a friend. He was the reason my marriage ended. I gritted my teeth. That son of a bitch had been sleeping with my wife while pretending to be my friend. And now, he was taking my place at my daughter's wedding. Not happening. That night, I sat in my car outside David Carter's house. The lights inside glowed warmly, a picture-perfect life built on deception. My fingers itched to knock on the door, to demand the truth from his lying mouth. But I wasn't here for confrontation. Not yet. Instead, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. After a few rings, a gruff voice answered. "Who the hell is this?" "It's Ethan." A pause. Then, "Didn't think I'd hear from you again." "Yeah, well, I need a favor." "You always do." I smirked despite my rage. "Still good at digging up dirt?" A low chuckle. "Depends. Who's the target?" "David Carter." "And Vanessa." The chuckle turned into a full-blown laugh. "Now that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Give me a day. Make it fast." I hung up, gripping the steering wheel. By the time Emma's wedding rolled around, I would have the truth. And when I did, David and Vanessa would regret ever crossing me. The morning of Emma's wedding arrived, but instead of waking up with sadness, I felt ready. Ready to rip the mask off Vanessa and David, ready to reclaim my place as Emma's father. My phone buzzed. A text from my old friend, Mark. "Got everything. You were right. Check your email. See you at the wedding." I smirked. "Damn right you will." Opening my email, I found exactly what I needed. Vanessa and David's affair dated back nearly a decade before our divorce. Hotel receipts, private messages, even pictures. Vanessa hadn't just betrayed me, she had erased me from my own daughter's life for the man she was cheating with. And Emma? She had no idea. But she was about to find out. I arrived at the wedding uninvited. The venue was a lavish estate, decorated to perfection. Guests were already seated, murmuring excitedly. I spotted Vanessa in an elegant dress, laughing beside David. The sight of them together made my blood boil, but I forced myself to stay calm. I had something more powerful than anger, I had the truth. Then, my eyes found Emma. She looked breathtaking in her gown, happiness glowing on her face. For a brief moment, I hesitated. Did I really want to ruin this for her? Yes. Because she deserved to know the truth. As the ceremony began, the officiant turned to the guests. Who gives this woman away? David stepped forward. Not today. I stood. That would be me. A collective gasp echoed through the venue. Vanessa's face paled. David's eyes widened in shock. Emma turned, her expression unreadable. Dad! I walked down the aisle, all eyes on me. When I reached them, I pulled out my phone and handed it to Emma. Before you let this man give you away, you need to see this. Confusion flickered in her eyes as she took the phone. She scrolled, then froze. Tears welled up in her eyes. What is this? The truth, I said. David isn't some noble father figure. He's the man your mother cheated on me with for years. The reason our family fell apart. And she spent all this time lying to you about it. Emma turned slowly to Vanessa, her hands shaking. Tell me he's lying. Vanessa opened her mouth, but no words came. Emma's face crumbled. Oh my God! You lied to me. Gasps and whispers filled the crowd. David stepped forward. Emma, sweetheart. Don't, she snapped, stepping back. Don't you dare call me that. Vanessa reached for her. I was protecting you. Emma yanked away. Protecting me? Or protecting yourself? Tears streamed down her face. I spent years hating my own father. You made me hate him. And all this time, it was you who betrayed our family. The betrayal in her voice sent a stab of guilt through me, but this wasn't my burden to carry anymore. Emma turned to me, her expression raw. Dad, I'm so sorry. I exhaled, finally seeing the daughter I had lost. I never wanted this, Emma. I just wanted the truth. She turned back to Vanessa, her face hardening. I want you both gone. David paled. Emma, please. Now. Security stepped in, escorting Vanessa and David out. The whispers turned to murmurs, but I didn't care. Emma looked at me, her voice shaky. Dad, will you walk me down the aisle? Emotion clogged my throat. It would be my honor. As I took my daughter's hand, I realized something. Vanessa and David had stolen years from me. But they wouldn't steal another second. Because Emma was mine again.